Bé noch tui na féile pádraig ort. I'm learning Gaeilge on Duolingo, that's Irish Gaelic in one dialect, but I had to look that phrase up because it's been over a year and I'm still stuck on stuff like Olan an Kailin Ishke, ach Olam Banya. Hey fellow game masters, I'm sure I'm not the only one who got too excited when I first started running games and just plunged right into writing all my own adventures and encounters. And in some ways, I think that helped me learn quickly. It's a real learn to swim by jumping into the deep end kind of thing. But a side effect of that is that I didn't run very many modules at first. Pre-written adventures don't just save time, they're also full of practical lessons for GMs to learn. And when I was reading this one-shot adventure, The Battle of Carrigarth, it kind of blew my mind because it is a perfect lesson in a major game master skill, building tension. Tension is what makes an adventure exciting to play, keeps combat from dragging, and gives victory meaning. I would argue that creating tension is one of the most fundamental game master skills there is, and this adventure uses 3 clever tricks to pull it off. The Battle of Carrigarth is a one-shot set in the world of Dalriada. This video is actually sponsored by Penny Dragon Games and their new Kickstarter, Vagabond's Guide to Dalriada, which is a Celtic-inspired setting for 5e. As a certified Celtic fangirl, I will try not to rave about this too much, but this setting is my jam. I'm already very inspired by Celtic folklore, so I'm primed to love a book that has creatures like the Leonanshi and the Avertalk and a barbarian subclass based on the battle frenzy of Irish folk hero Cuchulainn. Most of the Starcane Press team is based in Ireland and Scotland, and their CEO, Paddy, is a native Guelga speaker who lives in what was once the historic kingdom of Dalriada, which inspired this setting. He's probably judging my pronunciation right now and being too polite to say it. The Kickstarter for the Vagabond's Guide to Dalriada just launched, and every backer gets the Battle of Carrigarth adventure for free. Here's the adventure setup. The city of Carrigarth is under attack by an army of undead. There's a ritual that can save the city, but it requires an artifact that the party has. All they have to do is deliver it to the druids at the ruins of Dunmara. But between the party and the ruins are a series of 6 optional encounters, ranging from combat to roleplay to skill challenges. Most parties probably won't be able to complete all 6 and the final encounter in one session, which is intentional. This makes the adventure modular, so you can skip encounters that your party might not enjoy and speed things up or slow things down to accommodate their pace. As the party completes each encounter, they are making measurable progress towards their goal. This builds a sense of urgency throughout the adventure so that the conclusion truly feels like the climax of the story. The Battle of Carrigarth accomplishes this with 3 simple techniques that you can easily copy at your own table. First, it limits players' awareness. There's a reason why every single horror movie has at least one long, drawn-out scene of someone approaching a closed door very slowly while scary music plays. It makes you feel nervous when you don't know what's coming. This adventure uses little tricks to generate that feeling at the table. For example, the druids have summoned a storm to slow down the undead army and buy time, but this storm affects the party too. Once you get inside the gates, everyone's visibility is reduced to 60 feet, and some areas are muddy, creating difficult terrain. This makes it hard to scout ahead or circle back, and means they could be attacked at any time with little to no warning. In another encounter, a nearby explosive crash temporarily deafens the party right when they meet up with their ally. This means that he's gesturing at them, yelling something they can't hear right as combat begins. The fact that players do have limited information and awareness also contributes to your ability as a GM to foreshadow and slowly build the adventure towards the conclusion. For example, in an early encounter, you face a few skeletons, but in a later encounter, you face the creature that has been summoning them. This both lends context to the earlier encounter and allows players to use what they learned in the last one. All these little things keep players attentive and prevent the kind of excessive scouting and planning that can eat up hours of playtime and just drain the energy out of encounters. Speaking of limiting excessive scouting and planning, the second thing this adventure does to build tension is to implement a ticking clock, or at least the perception of one. In most cases, your players are not actually time limited. They could spend an entire session on many of these encounters, and there's nothing built into the adventure to punish them for that. But at every turn, they're given reminders to hurry up. The undead army is actively attacking the city, and the only thing that can stop them is getting that artifact to the ruins. Every minute of battle, every NPC death is only happening because the players have not yet completed their objective, and the undead are nipping at the characters' heels the whole time. For example, overtaking the bridge as soon as they've gotten across it. Plus, the adventure uses developments in combat to back up that feeling of urgency within the mechanics. In one encounter, at the beginning of the 3rd round, a bunch bunch of zombies move in from behind, just far enough away that if the players can defeat their opponents or escape them within the next round, they won't have to fight the whole horde. When players aren't low on hit points, it doesn't really matter if combat takes 3 rounds or 4. This means that players don't have to get creative or take risks. But a mid-combat development like this enables you to push your party without forcing you to really mess them up before the final battle. A ticking clock means that every NPC interaction, every bit of flavor text, every environmental mechanic is built to remind your players that this is the 11th hour and there is no time to waste. Finally, throughout it all, the adventure doesn't let your players forget that they are part of a whole. They are not a lone group of adventurers with only themselves to consider. The entire city is relying on the party to save them. This means they can't dawdle or meander. They're constantly made aware that people are fighting and dying around them, and it won't stop until they achieve their goal. When they meet up with the ally who called them here, Captain Aldoran, he is in the middle of a battle. The party fights one monster alongside him, and then he urges them onwards, saying that he and his forces will hold the undead back as long as they can, but they cannot win if the party doesn't deliver the artifact. In the final encounter, this feeling of broader responsibility gets taken to the next level when you enter combat alongside the druids. Having NPCs involved in combat can mean more work for the game master, but it also gives you more control. If you want to make the encounter super threatening, you can target the party and leave the druids focused on their ritual. But if the tide starts to turn and you need to cut your party a little slack, the druids can assist them, and you can have the monster target the druid NPCs for a round or 2. Mechanically, this takes pressure off the party because they're not getting hit, but narratively, it turns up the pressure because it'll make your players feel like they need to defend their allies. Nobody likes watching a friendly NPC get murdered. With all 3 of these tactics combined, you can create tension that keeps your players moving and engaged. It's that feeling of urgency that makes an adventure exciting and puts weight behind the boss fight. And when they finally triumph, there is nothing abstract about being told that they saved the city and everyone in it, because they witnessed those stakes themselves over the course of the entire adventure. These techniques to build tension can be used in all kinds of games. And if you learned anything from this video, that's not because of me, it's because of the writers at Penny Dragon Games. The Battle of Karagarth adventure is just the tip of the iceberg. It's literally just bonus material, a prequel adventure to a full campaign coming later. The Vagabond's Guide to Dalriada is packed with lore, player options, monsters, magic items, spells, and more, all inspired by rich Celtic folklore. And alongside terrifying monsters and somber themes of invasion and loss, there are also leprechauns riding killer geese, so something for everyone. Check out the Kickstarter at the link in the description. And speaking of creating a sense of urgency, backers who pledge within the first 48 hours will get 3 free luck coins and an additional free adventure called Emerald Heist Leprechaun's Gold, so don't wait to check out the campaign. Thanks for watching, and ta an breakfast ahead.